We are live, baby. Yeah.
All right, guys, welcome in to you know what it is, an unbelievably weird, and when I say weird, I mean weird week of college football. Fourth and One podcast. Coach Trey is your co-host. Rusey over there in the corner. So we are obviously we're gonna destroy the elephant in the room right off the top. We're rocking shades in honor of Coach Prime because yet again that man finds a way to win. This time with some extra ball to be played, but not without their star player getting hurt. So give me some quick thoughts on the game, and yet again, man, hats off to you for these wins coming your way.
No, dude. That was tough. That was going to be a tough game. There was a lot of shit talking. I know we were leaning more towards a beatdown there, but we saw immediately they took a cheap shot on Travis Hunter, and we saw how that affected the game. I think on both sides of the ball. So, it is what it is. A win's a win. I don't know how I feel about them going forward because we've got a really tough schedule. But I say we because that's my second favorite team right now, dude. I said screw all the bets I had on them. I was pulling for them to genuinely win that game. And that felt good. I haven't had, outside of LSU, I haven't had that in college football. So it was nice from a fan's perspective. From a betting perspective, last week sucked. Horrible.
Look, I was trying desperately to watch. I have to be honest. I was enticed to go to sleep before the game ended. I really wish that it wouldn't have been the case. However, I did watch the game without looking at my phone. When I woke up that morning, kind of skimmed through it and kind of watched the entire fourth.
So you didn't watch it live?
I did not watch it live. And so when I texted you that morning, that was like my genuine reaction of watching it happen. Like I recorded it. I wasn't at home, and so I recorded it and woke up the next morning, drank some pumpkin flavored coffee and got it lit. But brother,
yeah, dude, no, it was tough. I watched it live. It was a
oh my god,
it was a barn burner.
I know you were puckered, but again, guys, I guess since we're I'm not sure if you're going to want to get into their game or not, if you want to dive right in, but the way I see it is that I think, and you and I kind of talked about this, the book is a little bit out on them. That doesn't mean they aren't going to continue to win. And it certainly doesn't mean that they're going to lose the rest of their games or, go 500. That's not what I'm saying at all. However, their offensive line's bad. And again, if any part of their team was going to be, if any part of their team wasn't going to be great, the O-line is going to take the most time. It is a conversation, routine-based part of football. It is the least individual part of football. So with them being new, it's going to take time. But they've got the firepower to stay in it, bro. But three tuds.
Well, so I said this last week, and I knew it immediately after the Nebraska game. You got to blitz consistently. You got to blitz, and I know that's tough on your defense, on your edge rushers to constantly do that. However, Colorado State did it in the first half. For some reason, just like Nebraska, they stopped in the second half. So I'm not really sure why they're stopping. I don't know if it's a fitness thing. I don't know. But the book's kind of out. The line on this opened at 16.5, and it's been bought all the way to 21. So I really truly don't know about this game. It's kind of how I felt about the Florida-Tennessee game. Just because there were so many unknowns about that, and obviously we'll probably know who wins the game. This is more just of a betting opinion as far as what the cover is going to be. I think you're right. I think Colorado has the firepower to sit in there, but I think if Oregon gets to them a couple times, I just find it really tough. That's going to be a tough game. It's at Oregon. They're going to want to prove a point. Bo Nix is going to want to prove a point. I just have a really bad feeling about the game. So I'm staying 1,000,000 miles away from the line of the game. I do have a play that's in a parlay of Shador getting over 1.5 pass touchdowns. It's minus 170, a little juicy. I just find it hard that he won't have, that he won't have that much success. I just find that hard. He'll have some success. It's just going to come with its trials and tribulations. So that is a play I have on that game, but I am staying far away from that game because I can easily see that being a blowout or a barn burner. So,
do you want to do something live really quick to show
yeah.
them? Okay. Can you have you looked at the line for the points?
Yeah.
Don't look.
Oh.
What do you think it is for the over?
Oh, like the total for the game?
Total points.
Oh, I have not looked at that. All I knew it was 21. So I saw his pass yards were 315. So that means they're expecting them to score a little bit. So I would say probably like 62.5.
70.
Oh, yo.
And brother, I don't think that's enough. Because the way I see this game going is no matter Travis or not, their tight end's a bucket getter. So he ain't the only one. The way I see this game going is blow for blow. I'm not saying it's who has the ball last kind of game, but I can see it being blow, 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 blow. And if Colorado just comes out, man, because that was an emotional game. It was an emotional game, and we'll get into why I like the emotional piece later. I don't think they're going to have a problem with pulling up to the scene for the biggest game of the year. I think Bo Nix is going to have a point to prove, though. He's pretty much put his flag on the moon for being in the elite for the college quarterbacks right now. And I think this will be the game where you might look back. If he is to do something special, this will be the game that you look back and go, wow, this was really his coming out party. A little yo in the chat from Rich.
Oh, what's up, Dilly? What's up, Dilly?
But that's how I see that one. Did you want to divulge any other plays, or did you want to get into the
No,
real,
I mean, so I titled the show "The State of the SEC," and I think there's a lot to be said with what's happened so far. It's definitely they've taken a step back as far as record, but this conference is wide open right now, in my opinion. Both on the division side and for the entire conference. I think I've watched Georgia play. I watched all the top teams play. I don't think one's better than the other on any given day. I think if you get any combination of those 4 or 5 teams matched up on a one game winner take all, any one of those teams can win. And I'm saying that like with full confidence. And like I know Georgia hasn't lost in several years. I just do not see anything special from them. I've seen the firepower that LSU has when they're clicking on all cylinders. I know they played Mississippi State. Who knows how good of a win that was? We'll have to see how they fare out against South Carolina this week. We've seen Bama, the ups and downs for them. Obviously, Milroe's the guy. How good's Texas? They kind of struggled a little bit in their last game with Wyoming. But when they get up against, we don't know the state of these teams. How good is Texas? How good is Florida State? Florida State struggled. There's a lot of unknowns, and I think it's really exciting to be a fan of college football, specifically in the SEC. If you have a team there, because I think potentially a two-loss team gets in from the SEC. If you're an SEC, if you're the winner of the conference and you have 2 losses, I think you're going to get in. That's just my opinion.
The only issue with that is because we still only have 4 spots, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna take my glasses off to say this because I really want this to be heard. Gone are the days where your name gets you into the playoff anymore. Okay, it is a weird time that you're looking at. I mean, can we be honest and say that there's 2 dominant college football teams that we've seen for the last more than 10 years, one of them for 10 years, literally at the precipice of reeling in Clemson and Alabama? When's the last time you said that? Like, when's the last time you genuinely had to consider truthfully thinking that the number should be closer for Ole Miss to go to Alabama. Like if you're a college football fan and you think that your team deserves to be in just because of who they're playing and because they're in the SEC, because they're in the Big Ten, you're missing this. This is the year, and I have a little audio vlog that I send out to friends and family before we do this. I mean, I've sent it to you 1,000 times, but this is the year that last year's TCU team deserved to be a part of. Because this is the year we are going to crown a champion at the end. We do it every year, but this is going to be the one where it's not going to be a dominant. There is no one dominant team in college football. The closest that you've seen to that was what you saw week 1 from Florida State. And anybody that watches college football and judges your season based on one game, especially the first game, has never watched a full season of college football, because look what they did to Boston College. Save me the look ahead. Save me the miss me. Save me the Jordan Travis got hurt. I get it. But they were getting cooked on. And it wasn't after he got hurt. It was the whole game. They couldn't stop him. You ever heard that Nick Saban whenever he was talking about Georgia Southern when they came into Tuscaloosa years ago when he first got the game, and he said that we got ran on like shit through a tin horn? That's what it felt like for Boston College. So what I'm trying to say is, you've got Florida State and Clemson playing this weekend, and I don't think that's the biggest game of the weekend. And by the way, I looked this up, and you can mark the tape. This I don't know. I can't remember the year that it was. It was either 05 or 06, but it was the most ranked games in one regular Saturday that we've had in like literally 15 years. Like there's an absolute litany of games, and we don't even have the time on this episode to talk about all of them in depth like they deserve, but to just go down the list a little bit, you've got a ranked Pac-12 matchup with Oregon State and Washington State that's literally not even getting talked about because you're so busy talking about everybody else. You're busy with Ole Miss, Alabama, Colorado, Oregon, UCLA, Utah, Florida State, Clemson. It used to be that was the game. That's the one College Game Day was going to all week, all year long. What have we said? Slate of games is kind of weak. Not this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a smaller play sheet, and you're going to see live bets from me. So obviously tune in to Twitter with that. But my question to you is, and I want to put this the right way because I know that we haven't talked about this yet. And this is a two-parter. A&M plays Auburn. Okay. You think Auburn is going to be better today or in 2 years?
2 years.
If Jimbo doesn't beat him now, when is he going to beat him?
Well, he's not going to be the head coach of Texas A&M when that happens.
So Ole Miss and Alabama play. Do you think Ole Miss is going to be better in 2 years or today?
That's a tough one. Ole Miss? Ole Miss is pretty damn good, dude.
Probably best today, right?
Yeah.
So if they're going to beat Alabama, when else are they going to beat them? If Lane Kiffin's going to beat him, when else would they beat him if not now? See how there's a difference?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Same question, but difference. So what I'm trying to get to is this is by far and away the make your season game. Because if Alabama loses, all hope is lost. The dynasty's over. All that's coming to Twitter. I'm telling you, it's coming. Alabama's going to call into Paul and freak out on the Feinbaum show. And if Jimbo doesn't win, they're going to be writing checks in the press box. So
he's already gone.
It's interesting, man, because you knew what was going to happen bringing in Bobby Petrino, and you still did it. And then you knew what was going to happen with Alabama having their best recruiting class they've had in years, and it didn't happen. So what? So what are you taking from Ole Miss, Alabama? I don't know if you're going to play this or not, but what are you taking from this?
So I am going to err on the side of caution, and I do have a play in the game. I have Milroe over 225.5 pass yards.
They're going to have to.
He is clearly the guy.
Clearly.
And that's not giving him full credit just because, like I said, there's a lot of unknowns. How good is Texas? Because, outside of a couple of possessions, Milroe actually played pretty well against Alabama. Against Texas. How good is Texas' defense? Maybe they're a top 5 in the country. Who knows? That's to be determined. However, we saw last week That experiment didn't go well. You thought there would be someone that would, step up and make some plays for that team and maybe crown themselves as the starting quarterback. That didn't happen. They sucked all the way from the first quarter to the last. Milroe's the guy. It's clear. I think this is a big game for him. I think Ole Miss's defense is suspect. Their offense is very great. Suspect is maybe they're not better than Texas. Is that fair? Because maybe their defense has not looked terrible this year.
They're getting pressure on the QB.
They are.
Dog.
They are. Yes, because I watched the Tulane game
in a while.
The Tulane game, and thank God for their defense for getting me the backdoor cover in that game.
They are so lucky that Pratt did not play.
Yeah.
They are so lucky.
I'm saying. How good is Tulane? Right. How good is Tulane? There's a lot of unknowns, and that's what I love about this. Correct. Usually it's scripted. Usually we know what's going to happen. I have no fucking clue. And excuse my language. I have no clue what's going to happen this weekend. I mean, there could be several combos of things. Like Clemson can come out and beat the shit out of Florida State. And on the same note, Alabama could beat Ole Miss by 3 touchdowns, and Arkansas could beat LSU. Like there's so many combinations that could happen, and we had a really bad slate last weekend. Thank God we had the Colorado game to kind of make up for that. This is a great slate of football, and I'm so pumped. But yeah, that's my second play. I am erring on the side of caution. If you had a gun to my head and told me how to play this game, I would be taking Bama money line, Bama points. Okay. That's gun in the head. That's not an official play. I just don't think it's time yet. I think in a weird way, the last week's shenanigans are going to work out in their favor. Nick Saban, we've been preaching this all year long, is not just going to roll over and give up his reins. So I expect a very good performance from Alabama. I think it'll be relatively high scoring. I think Milroe's going to have a great game, and I think they're going to get the dub. I think they're going to cover. I would not bet that. That's just in the sake of having a gun to my head. So if you ask me to pick, so that's just my opinion.
Do you want to, like, I guess for lack of a better term, do you want to like apologize to the middle western part of the United States for the fact that we've now gone 17 minutes on the show without talking about the biggest game of the weekend? Because Ohio State's going to South Bend, and I'm going to say something.
Forgot about that game. My God, I didn't even mention them.
Russo. Jeez. I haven't felt this strongly about a Notre Dame team in a long time.
Notre Dame's winning that game,
brother.
Notre Dame's winning that game,
brother. I think that this is the first time since their national championship runner-up team that they've had the dogs on the opposite side of the line to compete with the Ohio States and the Michigans and such. Now, granted, we're saying all that, but Sam Hartman is like a 32nd year quarterback. He's dropping dimes in the bucket.
But that's enough in this specific game. That's a probably one of the biggest X factors in the game. And
you're doing the against like talent thing. Obviously, he hasn't had like talent when you're playing Ohio State, but Kyle McCord hasn't done this yet, and it's not like he can't do it. We've literally seen this movie before. Okay, but I think that Coach Mark really has them. Like Marcus Freeman's got them boys believing, and again, there are so many reasons and things we can go down as to why you can't get a Georgia recruiting class into Notre Dame. You're not going to do it. You can't. Away from the fact that of the education in the city and the school and the grades, there's a crap load of reasons why. But to get your players and the transfer portal and the guys in there, to get Sam Hartman like he's in his money year, like this is the, like I just gave you earlier, if they're gonna beat the big boys, if not now, when?
No, yeah.
So I think Notre Dame wins too. If you want me to be honest, if I had to pick a game today, if you want to let that be our combined pick for the week, our game day pick, which we've talked about doing here lately, I would take Notre Dame. And to be completely frank with you, I think this not being a pick 'em is a bit of a history look back. I don't think that they're looking at the strength of both teams together. And if you wanted me to go ahead and continue on the trend of picking another game that I think that's happened in the Big Ten that I absolutely love, it's Penn State. They're getting 2 touchdowns. They're getting 15 points. Iowa telling the coach that you've got to average X amount of points in order to keep your job in the public is literally like begging for them to not do it. So give me Penn State in the points. I'm not telling you I'm putting my money on it. But if you made me pick right now today without looking into everything that we look at to make a pick, I would go with Penn State. And if you really want me to get to round this out, then we'll go ahead and talk about who I think is it's criminal we haven't talked about him. Shout out to UW. Bro, name me 5 teams in college football better than Washington right now. Playing better than Washington. You can't.
No.
And it was like, well, no. So the fact that we're not even discussing them, they're a 3 touchdown favorite right now at home against Cal. Is there anything that would keep you from wanting to take that bait from Vegas and 3 touchdowns? Probably not. But all I'm trying to say is there are so many storylines here. And what are we talking about? Prime.
Yeah, dude.
Because it's that good. So
yeah.
But if you don't want to give any more of your plays, then don't. But give me a thought that we haven't talked about yet, because I feel like I need to be centered here.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a few things. I want to step back a couple of steps because we got off of the Notre Dame game, and this is probably something that hasn't crossed your mind. I think they've got the best player in the field, and his name's not Marvin Harrison. Audric Estime.
Ooh,
he is in my parlay with his rushing yards. 77.5, I believe, is a number. He's the best running back in the country. Go look at the stats. I know they've probably played an extra game, but he's the best running back in the country. It's not close.
We thought it was going to be Nick Singleton, and there's still time.
No, there's not time. Their backup is better than him. Go look at the stats. I believe his last name's Alex.
Guys, Leonard Fournette, dude.
Yeah, it is what it is. But they have the best player. That is a long shot Heisman, and just like you mentioned, and this isn't a long shot, Michael Penix. I think he's the Heisman right now.
Oh my!
How can you argue that?
Oh my God!
Like, sure. Caleb Williams is living up to his hype, right? Correct? Yeah, sure. Michael Penix had 320 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half.
If Michael Penix plays for Ohio State, then he would be more.
Oh my God! I don't know though. Washington's got some good. They got just as good receivers, man. Marvin Harrison's the best one out of them all, sure. But Roma Dunze, McMillan, those guys are dogs. That's a good team on offense. I don't know about their defense. That is going to be a hard team to outscore. That's all I'm saying.
Isn't that a shame that we have to talk about that? Because if Michael Penix played for Alabama, do you know that he would be like?
They don't got dogs on that team. They don't got receivers.
No. But you're missing it. The publicity.
Oh yeah.
Like the pub.
Yeah.
Behind him.
No,
it would be like if for example, if you wanted to take Quinn Ewers and just let's just say that he wasn't at Texas and he did make it at Ohio State. Like, with all of the things that are happening in the Big Ten, throwing to the historic name of Harrison. I know he's in Texas. I know he's in Austin.
Yeah.
Still not really getting all the clicks.
Mm-mm.
It's all about Deion. It's all about, can Deion do it? And all of these players' Heisman odds are not fluctuating because of that. And we've talked about this before on like what moves the needle. I mean, Jaden Daniels had the most accurate day of a quarterback in like the last 113 years, and nobody gives a damn.
Yeah.
As far as Vegas is concerned, because his odds are the same. So it just proves your point, man. Proves your point.
It's such a great season. I think we mentioned this in one of our episodes prior to the season starting. We were looking for a March Madness feel, like a college basketball feel, a Cinderella story feel. We've already got that with Colorado. I'm sure there's more to come. Washington could be considered a Cinderella story, once push comes to shove towards the end of the season. Florida State still, I mean, are they that damn good? We're going to find out this weekend. As an LSU fan, I'm going to be rooting for them because we need them to do well for LSU to look good towards the end of the year. So I'll be a Florida State fan that game. I did watch the tail end of that BC game, and there were a lot of implications behind that game. I know there was a lot of motivations. That was a special game for Boston College, their university, and I think that was a look-ahead game. I know you said don't mention it. They did get chewed up a little bit. I think a lot of it was self-inflicted. I think a lot of it was, I think they gave up 2 touchdowns off of turnovers, and one was is the Pac-12 dissolving.
It already has. It's 2-pack.
It's 2-pack right now. But I think we talked about this last week, and your boy Kev said this. The Pac-12's got one of the best divisions or the best conferences right now. They definitely got the best quarterbacks. You can argue they have the best 3 or 4 quarterbacks.
Bro, one of the best ones is at UCLA. No one's talking about him.
I don't even know who it is.
You don't. Oh, please go look up Dante's numbers right now. And
what's his name?
If you just again take.
I swear to God, I don't know.
If you just take, I'm gonna read you. I'm gonna read you this.
Because I know DTR was there, Charbonnet was there last year. I know both of them left.
If you don't remember Dante Moore's recruiting talk on like where he was gonna go, let's go. Okay, let's take it game by game. 8 of 12, 17 of 27, 7 of 12. Numbers don't really look that promising. 66, 63, 58 completion percentage, but they've beaten North Carolina Coastal, San Diego State, and Coastal Carolina by a total of 59-7, 35-10, and 27-13. He's got a QBR of 97, 81, and 83. And the first thing that I saw on ESPN was that when people were watching film, they didn't think that anybody looked better than him. That dude's a player, and he's not even getting run.
Is he a freshman?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's not even getting run. He's from Detroit, dude. He was talked about, where he was going to go. What am I going to do? Like, it kind of made like a big thing about his recruiting, and people kind of fell asleep on it because it's such a tired act in recruiting. Mm-hmm. And the kids over in UCLA playing for Chip and balling. Now, Chip's obviously got more in his hands right now with the whole the college football rule changes, but he's just to Connor's point. Yeah, yes, the Pac-12 is dissolving, but they've still got pound for pound the teams to run with anybody right now. As far as scoring, they may not could stop a nosebleed, but I can promise they can throw some stuff. In the meantime, you've got poor people in Alabama who are acting like their quarterback can't throw a birthday party. So
yeah. No, man, that the Pac-12 dissolving, but will not be forgotten. This is one of the most talented quarterback groups we've seen in a conference. So yeah, I believe a lot of them they're split between the Big Ten and the Big 12, correct? Like half are going to the Big 12, half are going to the Big 10 or something. The nature of that, we'll get the exacts on that. And we could talk about alignment and stuff because we'll have some more details on because that's still all ongoing. I did have, I named 3 plays in my 6-man parlay. One of those, in addition, is the South Carolina money line against Mississippi State. They are minus 200. They looked very good against Georgia. Mississippi State looked very bad against LSU. I really don't. I don't think Mississippi State's that good. I'm not taking away from LSU. I just believe Mississippi State. That offense is not it, and they made us look good on defense, and that's all I'm going to say. To finish off, I know we still have a little bit of time left, but I want to talk about something important, and this is we're gonna be homers here and talk about the Tigers. Okay, think about what has happened over the last year and a half. So Ed Orgeron goes. Who are the top 3 candidates for the job outside of Brian Kelly?
You can go ahead and say Lincoln Riley, Mel Tucker, and James Franklin.
Okay.
And then Lane, Jimbo. Jesus. Jimbo is a smokescreen.
Billy Napier.
Billy was never going to happen. They never even.
It was a possibility. It was a possibility.
They never even spoke to him. But for the sake of being considered, yes.
Look what is happening. Everyone initially was upset with Brian Kelly. They're like, "Oh, he's just going to do the same shit. Can't win the big game." First year comes in and beats Alabama. Now Mel Tucker getting fired from his job after receiving a luxurious extension. He's gone. Jimbo, we already know it. We've talked about Jimbo enough, right? I mean, he fucking sucks. And then Billy Napier has been underwhelming, even though props to them for beating Tennessee.
Oh, bro.
They have been underwhelming so far. Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
That's
through
fair.
His tenure. Thank God. That's all I'm saying. As a fan, they got the right guy. Now, personally, I want Lane Kiffin. I don't know. That just would have been fun. That would have been exciting. I don't care what would have happened. Do we beat Alabama? Probably not. But it would have been fun and exciting. He's a degenerate. We're degenerates. However, those three guys were somewhat in contention. Mel Tucker was almost, I thought, going to be the guy. Like, he was pretty close, according to at least the rumor mill. I know you have people inside the team that maybe said otherwise, but he was definitely a hot name. Jimbo was always a hot name. Those guys suck. That's all I'm saying. As people and as coaches, you know, the allegations, everyone's proven innocent until they're guilty. That's fine, but you shouldn't be in an allegation in the first place. You shouldn't be. Have you ever heard Brian Kelly and won in the last decade and a half? I mean, all these college coaches are scums, but I mean, because I know they have vendors who, you know, help with recruiting. You know, that was a thing back in the day. Probably still is now, but you know, at the end of the day, just going back to that choice, everyone was so mad, and look what's happened in the first year and 3 games. They've lost to Florida State twice. They've lost to what, 3 teams under Brian Kelly? Florida State, Georgia.
Florida State, Georgia, A&M.
A&M. So
Tennessee.
So shouldn't have lost A&M.
People who were upset about Brian Kelly getting hired either were call it what it was, talking out of their ass, or they were married to the idea of one person. So I get it. You know, the guy from Notre Dame came on and on everybody's show down here and talked about how he could never win the big game and he couldn't recruit and all this kind of. No, buddy, he couldn't get it done to the standard there, because there are issues there. The dude has Caleb Jackson, who has the highlight of the weekend of truck sticking that dude into oblivion. The guy is literally 400 yards away from LSU's campus. He's got everything that you need in the state. Why do you think that Texas and Alabama and Texas A&M and Georgia and Florida and State and Ole Miss and why do you think everybody's coming to recruit in Louisiana? Do you see any of those people pulling kids out of South Bend? No, you don't. Yeah. And so all that to say, most people that had ear to ground knew that Brian Kelly was going to be everybody's going to be happy hired. That was the word that we were getting. Everyone's going to be happy. And everyone was like, well, are people going to be happy with James Franklin? Probably not. Like, is it Lane Kiffin? Because he's going to piss off boosters, but then like the kids are going to love it. Like the student section is going to be lit. Like, so anyway, good job on Scott Woodward for getting a guy that's obviously trying to have the kids at the very, very least be good people in society, and then hopefully be great at football along the way. So to close that, I would just beg people to stay centered when making these kinds of decisions, though, with their money. Don't just base everything on what you saw last week. College football is not a lump sum game. The letdown spot is
you saw my units, dude. Went from plus 10. I lost 7 units last week, dude.
The letdown spot is such a real thing. And so to give you one little preview before I go, and before we go and go into the oblivion that's going to be college football, I'm going to be in Nashville all next week. I will be getting back Thursday midday sometime. I fly out Monday. So for those of you that are out there, please by all means stop and buy me a beer. But the one that I'm going to play, and I'm going to feel really, really good about this, no matter what the line is going to be, is I am going to take I am going to take Colorado State to not cover. The letdown is going to be unbelievable. The emotional disposition that team has right now has got to be low. It's going to hurt my feelings because I did play their win total because I wanted to be the heel of the show and try to, and play the devil's advocate. But I really, really love Middle Tennessee in the spot. And I think that's going to be one of my banner statements to try to get me on the right track, because so far for 3 weeks, it's been hit or miss, but last week was rough. We put a lot of coin on Colorado to get disappointed. Wow. So
I'm interested to see what that line is. Guys, check out the Twitter, man. We've been very active on it. Obviously, last week sucked, but the first 2 weeks, and we're still positive. See, last week was horrible, and we're still positive. So definitely check us out there. Shout out to an alumni, a guy that is definitely close to not only Louisiana, but just the South in general. AJ Fletcher is fighting this weekend for the UFC. He's looking to go on a 2-fight win streak against Brian Battle. I believe that's a midday card, so check him out. We're pulling for him. He's a slight underdog. Actually, not slight. I'm pretty sure he's plus 170, plus 180. I like him in this spot. So if you want to lay some cash on that, definitely do so. And yeah, at the end of the day, check the Twitter out, man. Live plays are becoming the thing now. It's hard to parlay them, but if you want single play bets, live betting is the play, man. You just get a feel of what's happening. A vibe is quickly set in some of these games, and it never wavers. So definitely pay attention to the Twitter. We will both be active. I think this is the first Saturday in a decent bit that I get to just literally sit down and watch college football all day. You're going to be in Nashville, correct?
I'll leave for Nashville Monday, so
you'll be able to have some time unless events change. Yeah. So, all right. Well, anything else?
No, man. I think that's it. Let's put a bow on it. Let's keep active on the Twitter, guys. Super, super, super blessed and pleased, obviously, to have this.
I'm making a guarantee. Can I make a guarantee? We're gonna profit at least 5 units this weekend. I'm telling you, man. There's a lot of opportunity this weekend. Big games calls for big opportunity. Please follow, and I'm guaranteeing that on both of us. We can combine. But honestly, I'm gonna raise the stakes. We're gonna go up plus 7.5 units this weekend combined.
Promise. Right. Let's make it happen. That means we gotta get in our bag and in the lab. And honestly, I think the biggest part of that is just remaining consistent with what exactly we're looking for. And so my spreadsheets are almost done. So I need to try to get into the right side of it, which is obviously the historical side, and then base it on common numbers today. But guys, check us out. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like. Give us a little thumbs up. Boost us up. You know what it does. So check us out on Twitter, guys, and we'll hit you up super, super soon. Shoot us a DM. Shoot us a message. Talk nice to us, and we'll see you soon.